two dogs fighting in the same house can be a tricky one. Let's get into it. In my opinion, when two dogs are fighting in the same household, that is one of the most challenging behavioural issues to overcome, because consistency, structure, rules, boundaries, it all needs to be through the roof, and there isn't much wiggle room to make any mistakes. And I am talking from experience. So when I had Sky and I first got Junior, they had a fight one evening. Completely my fault. All my fault. I was silly. This was years and years and years ago, but I hadn't had Junior for long at all. I went out drinking. One of the reasons why I don't drink anymore. I come home and I allowed them both to have some on my pizza. Again, I was drunk, stupid. I put the pizza box on the floor and they started eating it, and then Sky locked on. I was too late, like I said, my senses were wherever, and she locked onto him. Now, the fight was horrendous. It always sounds a lot worse than what it is, but it was bad. I somehow managed to get them apart, put them in the crate, slept it off, come downstairs the next day, and Sky wanted blood. It wasn't just, some dogs will fight and that's it, it's over, done and dusted, and then they're friends again. She wanted to murder him, and she literally would. So that was a case of going right back to basics, both on the muzzles, teach to exist. Junior didn't want any part of it. He was terrified of Sky, actually. I had to build his confidence back up. He was on the muzzle just in case he tried to defend himself, because obviously I don't want him hurting Sky either if she was in a muzzle. So it was a case of muzzles on, teaching to exist, rules and boundaries, structure, everything needed to go through the roof again. About, I would say, 4 months later down the line, they were doing amazing. And as humans, when we start to see a glimmer of hope, when we start to see success, it's very often we get ahead of ourselves. And that's exactly what I did. I got ahead of myself. Oh, they're doing amazing, let's take the muzzles off. That lasted less than 24 hours, and there was another big fight till death. So as a result, the muzzles went back on and structure went through the roof again. This was a lesson that I take with me today, and I teach all my clients, and I'm glad it happened. If you learn from your lessons, they are blessings. When things are going good, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing for a lot longer than what you think. So I kept them muzzles on around the house for 6 months, and after a couple of months, we were back to where, not even that, maybe a month, we were back to where we was, but I kept them on way, way, way longer. Because what's the point? What is the point? It's better being safe than sorry. Now, after that, there was no issues, but my structure was through the roof. So here's some examples of the structure that you need. 0 unsupervised free roam, and I mean 0. So even if you're just going to the toilet and the dogs are out, you need to crate them dogs. Your dogs need to be crate trained. If they're not crate trained, that's the first thing on your list. You need to get that crate established ASAP. Rules and boundaries around the house. That could include no furniture, no invading space uninvited. Everything needs to be set up as kind of a training exercise. So every time they are out together, they are on the leads. That is a training exercise. They're not just out to free roam, it's a training exercise. If you were not doing any training with them and you were supervising them, they could potentially go into a place and exist around each other. That is the key. You need to teach to exist. And if you don't have the place established, don't worry about it. Just put them in the crate and bring them out when you're doing these exercises. You need to be very aware that these incidences usually happen when there are high levels of arousal, i.e. high levels of excitement. So you need to be very aware of that. It could be play. My advice would be no play in the house. It could be around toys that are just lying around. Again, I wouldn't do that. It could be around food. It could be around affection. It could be around a certain person. You need to be very aware of this. You need to know the triggers for your dogs. This is why you need a trainer, especially when two dogs are fighting in the house. The lead on around the house is a big one, because that's how you can control situations if they're about to kick off. You need to be very aware of the signs that your dogs give before it kicks off. You need to be very aware of that. There is a big difference between looking and fixation. It could be the ears pinned forward, wrinkles on the forehead, heavy panting, or maybe the panting stops, heckles come up, tail starts wagging. You need to be very, very aware of these signs, and you need to be able to nip it in the bud before it escalates. And yes, it's a lot, but that's the situation that you're in now, and that's just the way it is. Also, the reason why the crate is so important, because otherwise you have a 24/7 job on your hands. You're going to have eyes at the back of your head constantly, separating the dogs, putting them in different rooms, worrying about people opening the door and letting a dog through. That is not healthy. Crates are essential with any dog, but especially when they're fighting in the house. And the most challenging areas within this whole scenario is 1, emotions. You need to control your emotions. It's not nice to see your dog in a muzzle, no. But it's also not nice to see your dog being ripped to shreds, yeah? It isn't nice to be on the ball all the time and have this structure in place, but if you don't do that, you're not gonna come out the other side. Like I said before, there's not much room for failure, but there really isn't. And that's why this structure needs to be through the roof. If you don't know what you're doing, this is why you need to get a trainer, because you need that guidance. And sometimes it might just be a kick up the bum that you need to keep you motivated, because it can get stressful. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. That's life. The dogs are going to have ups, they're going to have downs. That's life. Consistency is key. Consistency is how you get to the other side, okay? And the rule is always teach to exist. Anything after that is a bonus, but that's the goal. Your goal is teach to exist. To get best mates out your head. That might never happen. I'm not saying it won't either, but the goal is teach to exist. I hope that helps. Have a beautiful day.